European Institute for Innovation and Technology has contracted our organization to do some presentation about your possible engagement in future activities of this institute. Much more and better, Emira will inform you. I will explain you a few things about our organization, about REC. So briefly, Regional Environmental Center is organization, not political organization, which is established in 1990 by United States of America, by European Union, by government of Hungary, and by financial support of Holland. Fortunately, REC is established in 2000 in Kosovo, and for 13 years successfully is operating here. We are around 190 staff with 30 nationalities, and we have offices in 17 or 18 countries, and our annual turnover is 200 million per year. I mean 200 million until now. We are not profitable organization, but if we do to perform good environmental project, we have to have money. You could see we are operating in various regions, but mainly on Central and Eastern Europe. This is a famous cross based on what REC is working, so it's cooperation with government, with non-governmental organizations, with local governments, with businesses and citizens. Okay, this is the percentage of donation by different countries and unions, organizations. So you could see the EU states have about 38% of donation, then it's European Commission 29, and you can see the rest of countries. The main environmental objectives are, you could read it and I a bit more talk. We are trying to help and to support everybody in Kosovo who is dealing with environment. We belong to the civil society organization, international, but we are not opposition to the government. So actually we support to the government every single project which is for benefit of Kosovo. These are main direction for worker rights. So we are doing a lot on educational tool. We have a green pack, quite good project since many years in Kosovo here. Participatory government, we have local environmental action plan for 21 municipalities. Then law development, enforcement, compliance, local governance, biodiversity, we did biodiversity plan for prison, for drug ash. Climate change and clean energy, Emira, she took part in the Istanbul last year in famous climate big events with Al Gore. And of course the rest. So this REC competencies. So we are doing a lot of coordination and management of complex environmental projects. We are doing specific support on drafting national strategies. We did national strategy 2006-2010 for Ministry of Environmental Special Planning. And of course a lot of other, and capacity building as well, which is very important for our activities. Okay, there are some current actions or projects we are doing. Of course, we have to update this because we are presently doing another 3 or 4 more. But you can read, we are doing a lot on environmental action plan, on educational tool. And then we did some monitoring of environmental laws, etc.
Okay, so I will go into what we came in for today. And I will try to be quick so that I don't take too much of your time. And I'm almost sure you will find it useful. Even you can tell your friends actually, since they're not here. Because it's a nice program, it's a nice cooperation, and it, I'm sure will be useful for A.U.K together, if not for particular few students. So we, as REC, as the director of the office, presented our regional environmental center with offices all around Europe. And we have this cooperation with the European Technology and Innovation Institute. Now this institute is basically developed of three pillars, main pillars, and all of them have different components. One is academic, another one is research-based, and the other one is work field, so with different partners that are focused in clean energy that work within Europe. There are about 260 partners that are actually companies, profit-making companies, very famous ones in Europe that are partner of this institute. So the interesting thing about the institute is that it is a program actually that involves students to not only participate in the master and PhD programs, but to actually work for these companies, famous ones. And you could actually get support from the franchise of these companies to open up something similar in Kosovo. Now, why is this important in Kosovo? I'm not going to go through all the details to explain everything to you, but for instance, this chart is very interesting. It says about the degree of innovation in Europe versus the one in US. So this actually has about 226 companies in 2007 that were picked up. And the innovation in Europe, so when we say innovation, we mean new businesses, small businesses that have started up, is 21% in compared to European Union. In US, it's 21% in compared to the European Union countries, which is 2%. So in general, in Europe, there's not enough new businesses opening up. There's not enough creativity, innovation. That's what was judged by this experiment. So what the Institute actually wanted to do is to establish some kind of grounds for students to be sort of encouraged to open up new businesses and to use the European Union countries to spread out these businesses all around. And this is what this institute was started about. Now you would wonder, why is Kosovo even part of it? Well, it wasn't up until now because we're not in European Union. But this is the first time that the outreach has spread out a little. So our counter offices in Bosnia, in Montenegro are also actually doing this outreach to students and the availability of this institute to open up to them. I keep on doing the minus things. So why is this important to Kosovo again? The education, the research, and the industry, the going out there, is that we know that the public sector actually hires most of the people. So when the graduates finish their university degrees here, most of them are hired by institutions of the government or the municipalities and so on and so forth. A few students only actually figure out how to open up a new company. They kind of wait for a job to be given to them rather than find one or make new job opportunities for Kosovo, which is the one key that's important. That's how the economy will be developed. So it's necessary, definitely, the SME sector. And that is why the European Institute of Innovation and Technology could be very important and could play a big role. I will go through now, not that much into the mission and what the Institute is about, because you already understand it mostly, but in the programs actually, these are just to point out the 260 partners, and these are the pillars of the Institute that I mentioned. And then we can go into the thematic focus areas. So the focus areas of the master programs, the PhD program that's there, and also the work that would be available is the energy from chemical fuels, renewable energy, clean coal technologies, sustainable nuclear and renewable energy coverages, intelligence and energy efficient buildings and cities, and European smart electric grid and electric storage. And the governance area, the CEO is Diego Pavia. So these are some of the partner companies that are pretty famous all around. Now, the important thing is why we came to A.U.K. basically is that you don't need a background in energy to get involved in this kind of program. The idea behind the program is to get business-minded people or people who are interested in energy sector in general and to develop these skills and to basically also have managerial skills and open up new businesses, so in Kosovo. So that is why we came to A.U.K. Also because English is sort of a requirement in the sense of that you should be able to communicate and go through the TOEFL exam, which I'm sure you're aware of, in order to get into the program. So that is why we think A.U.K. would be suitable. But again, there's no necessary energy background. It's more so energy interest or clean energy that is necessary to get into these programs. So there's a Master of Science PhD schools, there's dedicated research, development and innovation, and the Kino Energy Highway. When I talk about the dedicated research, so once and hopefully if the institute would become partners with A.U.K, obviously the faculty would be the one involved in a lot of research as well. And there would be travelings of either faculty going there for a few weeks and exchanging information, and same goes to them coming. But this is at another stage. At this point, we're going for the outreach to students and the options that they would have. And these are the new countries that are being involved in the program now. And we already have participants listed for this year who have won scholarships or have basically engaged in the program so far. Again, these are the one MSA programs that I will go through now one by one quickly, but you have a lot of information in this booklet, and you can also ask any kind of information you would like or find it online, so it's not a big deal. These master programs basically, as I said, involve training in business and entrepreneurship, training in soft management skills, industrial and non-academic involvement in program activities, so you would be working basically on the field for these companies. All of these programs have working part, the field work basically involved in them. And then there's program pooling of talents to provide the best teachers and experts for the students for all topics. Another thing that's very interesting about this program is that you would first of all get double degrees, so from the institute and also from the universities where you would finish your program at. Because each of these master programs have a period of 4 months at one university and another 4 months at a different university in different countries within Europe, and also the work field time when you work for a company and you work on different business plans that are involved in the clean energy sector. So for instance, the Clean Coal MS program, these are the venues for it. So it's Lisbon, it's Krakow, and Portugal, basically different universities. So it's a very interesting program, very specific, and that's why it's important you understand each one of the master programs and see if that would be of interest to you, basically. The Clean Coal, as you may assume, is oriented to the technologies for the efficient thermal and chemical conversion of coal with reduced pollutant emissions. We are a country with a lot of coal, so this would be a very interesting program to most of the people, I would assume, in Kosovo. Another program is the innovation in the nuclear energy. So this has to do with fundamentals of nuclear engineering, safety, radiation protection. It obviously involves summer school, as most of these programs, and for instance, some of the big partners for this program specifically, so the students would be working at Vattenfall, Areva, EDF, and Endesa, which are famous companies again within Europe. There's energy technologies. It's basically design and development, operation analysis of future energy technologies. So I'm not going to go into detail again, but if that's something that would interest you, we can talk about it later. Renewable energy, I would assume you're all more familiar with. So that is something that Kosovo is looking into anyways, with sort of our coal and also the focus that we need to have on renewable energy in order to get in the European Union, in order to have a better life, basically. And then there's smart cities, which is a very new concept. It's a very interesting concept. For instance, I heard about it at TEDx years ago when there was, I forgot his name, but he started off this concept in India, and he, when we talk about smart cities, it's about smart infrastructure, so building a city from scratch to use less possible energy that's counter-effective to the population and very efficient energy. And it's proven to be a very interesting concept because they've started out locally with a few cities and in India, and it worked out well for the sustainability of that city. So it's the concept of not working out from top, from the government, and through all the cities in the country, but rather locally. So it's as if we take a city around in Kosovo and we build it and develop it from scratch, and we make it energy efficient. So this is a new concept. It has to do a lot with infrastructure. It's a very interesting program, so that's another thing. Then there's environmental pathways for sustainable energy systems, which is also obviously interesting in this area nowadays, as sustainable development is becoming more and more necessary and a concept that everyone is practicing. There's smart electrical networks and systems. This is a little bit more technical if you are interested in this field at all. And then there's the PhD option, which is also after the master program. I'm assuming none of you is a master student, so this would not interest you. I'm going to go into a few details when it comes to scholarships and options that this institute might offer, and then you can ask me all questions you have. So this is the first session, and there will be other fairs where we will be more informed if you are interested in these programs. But at this point, we can tell you that about 70% of the students for last year, for instance, got scholarships of different kinds, different scales, obviously. So that's one possibility. On the other hand, there is this Game Changer Challenge at Sustainable Energy. Once you apply to the Institute in one of the master programs, you also enter this Game Changer Challenge, where it's necessary for you to write out an essay and pick out basically a topic that is challenging in the energy sector, preferably from your own country, but it could be from something else as well. And then you enter this pool of possibly winning this scholarship, which is a 750 euros monthly scholarship for the 2 years of being there. So it's a pretty good option, basically, and that's just one of them. You're also supposed to take a quiz in sustainable energy, so you should be familiar with the energy concept in general. So that's one option. So this would be the steps, basically. Doing the registration, taking the quiz, the case challenge, filling out your profile motivation, and figuring out what exact program you're interested in and why. So this is just a banner of what you already have there. So for the challenge, there is one grand prize, which is the 750, and there's also 4 second prizes winners, which are differently scaled each year. So it depends on which year you would be interested to enroll in. And so I wanted to just give you some answers before you ask them of eligibility. So everyone who holds a bachelor degree by summer 2014, for instance, from a European university, and Kosovo is okay on the list now, it hasn't been so far, is eligible to apply to this program. So it's needed that the person, it's not needed, it's needed for only a few of the technical programs that I mentioned, that the person has studied chemical, mechanical, energy engineering. Other than that, it's an open contest for everyone, basically. And the registration needs to be completed, including the case solution and the personal motivation that I already mentioned. This is the timeline for different years, but I mean, that's not complicated. So if someone would be interested to apply to this program, it is only necessary, if you're in your last degree or finishing your bachelor degree, it's only necessary to get a letter that is official, basically, that you are a student at that university and you're finishing that year. And then you can apply for the master program of the current year. The application process is obviously kind of long. You may know that already, so you need to take the TOEFL test. There's a lot of steps that you need to do. But apart from the TOEFL test and registering and doing the quiz and everything else, that's about it. It's only a longer period of time. I have applied for a master's program and actually a bachelor's program abroad, so I know how long it takes. So it's way better for you to think about this earlier, so not just last minute. And again, some questions that you may have or may not, I don't know. Are there quotas for different countries? So no, but the minimum of the aim is 50% EU students. Is a recommendation letter required? Not at this point, definitely. More info about the PhD, if that would be something you would be interested in. Does the student intake differ from different programs? So do some start in spring or some in fall? So there's just one exception. It's the Clean Fossil and Alternative Fuels program. That starts both in spring and the fall. The other, all programs start only in the fall. Is there a fee to application? So most of the master programs have a fee, but not European Institute of Technology. They're trying to involve as many entrepreneurs and sort of encourage this concept. And what tests need to be taken? So not a GRE test, it's just the English test. And you could take the ELTC, which is the British one, basically, and the TOEFL, and the results are after 6 weeks. Can mature students who already have a master's apply? Yes, but not just to gain another master's. you need to clearly indicate your focus and why you would like to get in a master's program with the energy focus. So you have to really know why you would want to get in the clean energy area involved and everything. And this has to be stated out in the motivation letter. Other than that, basically you're free to try it out and apply and maybe even consider it as a research program, if not as a master's and PhD.